Hi, my name is John Cawthon, and this is my first YouTube video assignment for OSHA 111, How to Teach Adults. I will be speaking today about rocks and geology. It's something I'm very passionate about. I started collecting rocks when I was probably about age 5. I think by the time I was about age 10 or 11, I probably had a rock collection with well over 250 different rocks in it. My dad bought me an introductory rock identification book, which I had a lot of fun with. So that's kind of how I got started. We used to go on camping trips. I'd collect rocks there. We used to go on hiking trips, and I'd collect rocks there. I'd collect them in the park and pretty much anywhere I could find them. When I got into high school, I started doing a lot of backpacking, and eventually that evolved into mountaineering and other different mountain sports. But the key thing is, where I went backpacking was on the east side of the Sierra Nevada in Eastern California. The unique thing about the Sierra Nevada is it's a mountain range that juts up out of a high desert, and it's very stark. It goes from about 4,000 feet to about 13,000 feet in probably less than about 2 or 3 miles in many cases. And because it gains so much elevation so fast, you don't have a lot of vegetation. And especially when you get above tree line, which is about 9,000 feet, you had very, very good views of outcrops and bedding and bedrock, and all sorts of geology was very exposed. So I started taking even more of an interest then, because I'd look at the different layers of rock and they would be different colors, and you could see where one piece of layer would be broken off and all of a sudden another piece of layer would start, and just a whole lot of different things there to see. So when I graduated from high school, I wound up majoring in geology at California State University, Northridge. It was a difficult 5 years. It's a very hard science, but I enjoyed it immensely. Some classes I did very well in, some I kind of struggled in. The classes I did best in were my structural geology and stratigraphy, upper division classes. I really took a keen interest in this because it has to do with how rocks are formed. And not only how they're formed, but how bedrock is deposited over time. And the structural forces that are exerted on bedrock once it is formed. It's very key to how we find oil deposits today. It's also very key to why we have earthquake faults where they are. It's also very key in the mining industry, why we have gold where it is, and where we have rare earths, montebellum, things like that, that you don't find every place else. And how you know they're there is by understanding structural geology. Even to this day, I, I love geology. Even though I work for the State Fire Marshal and I do fire inspections, I do a lot of my work, of course, up on the North Slope and South Central, essentially in the oil fields. And I'm able to talk to the geologists and the reservoir engineers and folks like that. And it's just really interesting to understand how Alaska's oil deposits are formed. And it's not that much different from the stuff I learned at school, which is really kind of unique. So, geology just always has been that way for me, just understanding the earth and the way things are formed. And it's a unique science because not only does it take math, chemistry, physics into account, you also have to learn how to think and see things in 3 dimensions. So if you're looking at something on the surface, you take a measurement on it, which for geologists is a strike and dip, and that's taken with something called a Brunton compass. And then from there, you take that surface knowledge and you develop what we call cross sections. And a cross section will extend that bedrock up to 3 to probably 5,000 feet down. Now, when I went to school, we put cross sections to work by hand, which was very tedious because not only did you have to understand the geology, but you had to be a draftsman included. Nowadays, I think they do it by computer. But I think the point is, I love geology, always have, always will, and that's kind of my passion. And this is the end of my talk. Thank you very much.